Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Punyavadi Advaitari Siddharine
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Asatya Deshatarine
Namaste Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Yadrika Siddhara Vivasari
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vivasari Gaur Bhakta Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada,
Karai, Krishna Prasad, Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Devatane, Namaste Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Pracharne, Nirvishesha Srinivadi Bhakti Siddhartha.
Maharaj, little brief history of you.
It's true.
Just a little.
Well, a long time ago, I was in the spiritual world. And then due to bad association, I fell down, and here I am now. That's a similar.
Dear devotees, Maharaj's name is His Holiness. Everybody knows his name, right? Prahlad Ananda. Prahlad Ananda Swami Maharaj. Ki Jai. Maharaj joined in he was born in 1949.
Yes,
And he joined in 1966.
68.
68.
In both initiations within a year.
Within a year, you got both initiation.
Yeah.
Good, you remember.
I was a little bit more liberal back then.
So nice, yeah, right. That's what very liberal.
Yeah. There's at that time there were hardly to get initiated was something special. Then everyone got initiated. Then you had to get second initiated.
Mm.
It's probably considered raising the bar. But right, basically speaking, is real initiation is the learning how to hear. Formal initiation is a promise, the hope. We can understand. As Prabhupada writes in the Nectar of Instruction, the 5th chapter, 5th verse, that actually initiation is to help raise the devotee to the second platform of devotional service, whereby he learns to love Krishna, how to make friends with the devotees, how to help the innocent, how to avoid those non-devotees and the non-devotee conceptions of life. That's what initiation is meant for. The guidance, how to learn the 6 loving exchanges so they can apply them on the mighty or the liberated platform, free from our material conceptions of life. Reciprocate with Krishna not as a body, but as a soul. Reciprocate with the devotees, not as a body, but as a soul. To help the innocent, not as a body, but as a soul. And to avoid those who are against Krishna, not according to the Pali concept of life, but according to the soul, that's the rejecting Krishna.
One has to have a 6 loving exchange exhibiting in his or her life before initiation or after initiation, or it takes place.
Well, if you don't have that understanding, there is no initiation. It's a formality. Initiation means I'm willing to give up my false ego and accept myself as a servant of the servants of the servants of Krishna. And work on that platform. That's initiation. Otherwise, it's just a formality. That's when it's prepared to get out of the material conception of life. There's really no initiation. Initiation means being initiated into the conception that I'm the eternal servant of the servants of the servants of Krishna. And I'll work on that platform so I can realize it. If I take initiation, then I think I'm this body. I think I belong to a certain group of devotees, and the others are not part of the group. Then it's another phase of false ego. I haven't gotten off the bodily concept of life. For the initiation, it had no meaning. What was I initiated into? Another false conception of life. Therefore, if we maintain our material identification, or just change it for another identification, except for being the servant of Krishna's servants, then we'll just remain on the material platform. Yes.
You said something, you said that something like who am I initiated to? Like when said but initiated. What did you say again exactly? Did you say that when someone gets initiated and they question, well, who exactly am I initiated?
Oh, I mean, the person who's initiating us to teach us how to get off the material concept of life, not to get into another conception of life. And now I've become part of some small group by initiating spiritual masters group. There's some special group, as if only my spiritual master, he initiates certain souls that become his souls. And everyone else is not part of that group of souls. There are different souls. And I serve my spiritual master, and I have some special relationship with this group of souls, but not with this other group of souls. It's just a material conception of life.
Wow.
Sometimes I think, if not a blade of grass moves without Krishna's will, then what people are saying or doing that, seemingly might affect me or not affect me, it's all Krishna's will, and it's just
Really?
Krishna speaking.
It's all Christians. That's called impersonalism.
That's called impersonalism.
Yeah.
Okay.
As if Krishna is, he's responsible for everything. Whatever happens, it's not my fault. It's Krishna's because he's doing everything.
Is that where our free will and our own initiative comes into play?
Yeah, well, in one sense, either we can act in Krishna consciousness or we act in Maya. That's our free will. That's only our free will. Either we can act according to the actual reality, or we can act according to one of the modes of material nature, or a combination of them. We're in a Maya, so we just follow our natural inclinations. It's not Krishna's fault, it's our own voluntary. We've decided instead of serving Krishna, I'll serve illusion. It's called the material conceptions of life. And when we hear from Krishna, the actual philosophy coming from Krishna's representative, or Guru Sadhana Shastra, and we serve that, and we're actually serving Krishna, then we get out of the material conception of life. We can really actually understand who I am, who everyone else is, who Krishna is. Jnana tutad agyanam yeshanashtam atmana yeshamaditya jnanam prakashiti tatparam. And how everyone is enlightened with the knowledge by which nations is destroyed, and his knowledge reveals everything, just like the sun lights up everything in the daytime. So what's that? Tad buddhiyas, tad atmanas, tad nishtas, tad parayanaha, kachanya, napuna avritim, jnana nidu to kalmashaha. It's the reverse of our material conditioning. Tad buddhiyas means we're supposed to hear what's real, feed our spiritual intelligence, so comes out through our eyes and we can see what's real. Then our minds should be able to see Krishna as he's manifested in his different ways. So that's called Tad buddhiyas, tad atmanas. Atmanas means the mind. We can see through with our intelligence rather than our conditioned self understanding of things. Then tad nishta. Then we come to the platform of liberation. We're actually free from our material conception of life. Then parayana. Then we take shelter of Krishna instead of our mental concoction. It's the reverse of our conditioning. Yayato vishayam punsam sangaseshu bhujayate sangas sanjayate kama kroto bhujayate kroto bhavati samoha smriti vibram sat smriti vibram sat purinashat nashati. So we've fallen because we've gone the opposite of reality. We've lost our spiritual intelligence because our minds is fixed on the objects of this. Our minds have forgotten. We've forgotten what actually reality is, and because we're an illusion. We're an illusion because we've taken shelter of lust, anger, and greed. So instead of parayana, taking shelter of illusion, instead of nishtha, liberation, we're an illusion. Instead of putting our minds on Krishna, we're putting it on our material, remembering our material concepts of life. Because we've lost our spiritual intelligence. Because we've reversed the process of becoming Krishna conscious. We understand that our intelligence is meant to put our mind on Krishna so we become free from material concepts of life. When we take shelter of Krishna, we become in contact with Krishna 24 hours a day. And what does that mean? We always remember everything here belongs to Krishna. I have nothing to gain, I have nothing to lose. It all belongs to Krishna. And I do that because I'm taking shelter of Krishna through his Guru Sadhana Shastra, through his representatives, who teach me how to utilize everything in Krishna's service. And instead of serving lust, anger, and greed, instead of having affection for them, I have an affection for trying to please Krishna. Therefore, Krishna reveals himself to me. And when he reveals himself gradually, then I'm able to see everything, not only theoretically, with my intelligence goes beyond just theoretical, that everything belongs to Krishna, everyone is parcel of Krishna, but it's realized. Anyway, it's something to think about. Material conditioning is the opposite of spiritual liberation. We've lost our intelligence because we haven't taken shelter of Krishna. We haven't taken shelter of Krishna. We've gone the opposite. We're taking shelter of lust, anger, and greed. Our minds are cloudy because we're an illusion because of taking shelter of lust, anger, and greed. Therefore, we've lost our memory, who we actually are. We're remembering all the time what we're not. We've lost our intelligence because we're not using it in Krishna's service. Therefore, it gets lost.
So practically, the more your intelligence is fixated on Krishna and pleasing Krishna, and then your life is, your time is fixated, you're trying to do services for Krishna, it's a natural byproduct to gain that intelligence, to not only intellectually see Krishna everywhere, but practically understand how Krishna is living.
It's something like that. In other words, we hear it feeds our intel about Krishna, not just about Krishna as with the flute, but that's necessary too. But we hear how Krishna's energies are working, put us into illusion, how we've lost our spiritual intelligence because we're contemplating the objects of the senses, and therefore Maya is capturing us and slapping us into illusion, causing us to forget who we actually are, what's actually going on here. So we hear about that, so we're going to remember that everything here belongs to Krishna. Everything is meant for Krishna's service. And everything is, we should try. So that's the beginning. Understand, one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I never lost to him, nor is he ever lost to me. The true yogi observes me in all beings. He also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized soul sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. And one who sees me everywhere and who sees everything in me, I never lost to him, nor is he ever lost to me. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu makes it very simple. Yari Deka Tarika Krishna Budesh Amar Aga Guru Tanahara Desh. We're not just dealing with forms of different types of people. We're dealing with Krishna and his eternal souls. And our business, if we want to develop, see things properly, is that whoever we meet, we should help them become Krishna conscious. That's why Krishna comes, that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes, that's why his devotees come. And we want to become a devotee of Krishna, then whoever we meet, we should try to figure out how to help them. We should pray to Krishna with the intelligence, how to help them become more Krishna conscious. That's what our association is meant for. Anyone we meet. And if we do that, then gradually our illusion will go away. If we do that, then we'll remember who we actually are, who everyone else is. And then if we act in that way, then our illusion will go away. And we'll get free from lust, anger, and greed. which is driving us to serve our senses and mental and conscious. Therefore, Krishna says, Tad buddhayastat atmanastat nishtastat parayanaha kachanya punarabhiti jnana vildukamusha. And what's the result of that? Vidya vinaya sambhane brahmani govihastani shuni chaiva swapikecha pandita savadarshana. That the humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with an equal vision the learned and gentle Brahmin, the cow, the dog, the elephant, and the dog eater. So then we'll realize that everyone is actually Krishna's servant. And then we'll realize that we're the servants of Krishna. Then there's possibility of actually having Krishna conscious community. Otherwise, we're developing another type of illusion. Therefore, Krishna says, Yavasaya Buddhi Ekeha Kurunandana Bahu Shakai Anandascha Buddhi Yavasayana. That those who are on this path of resolute and purpose, and their aim is one, O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are not are many branch. So unless we come to see that that our mission is to help others some way become Krishna, develop their relation with Krishna. That's my relation with Krishna, is to help others develop their relation with Krishna. And anything we do besides that is a different form of illusion. If we see others according to their designations, even as a so-called spiritual designation. If we're Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Naham Viprana Chanar Patir, Aham Dvapina Sudra, Kopi Bharata Padakamalaya, Dasa Dasa Anudasa. That's how we should see, that's how we should feel. I'm the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. I'm not these material designations. We may acquire them, but they're just meant to help us serve Krishna better, that's all. So we can act appropriately according to the modes of nature we're situated in. So currently, devotees, they take initiation within ISKCON, then they think, well, I've changed my identification from whatever my material identifications are, and I've changed it to another material identification.
It's depressing.
What's that?
It's depressing. Depressing.
Well, we have to understand things properly.
Yeah.
If we don't, we're going to be depressed.
Yeah.
Now, taking shelter of a bona fide guru means that the guru is going to teach me, because he's learned whoever he meets how to serve them. And appropriate means how to serve them in such a way as to help them develop their Krishna consciousness. I don't see anyone as, whether they're part of the same devoted family that I got initiated by, the same group, or anyone else, it makes no difference. And the best guru, the best family will be those who have no material identification, who only have spiritual identification. That's real identification.
Spiritual identification, as in there's Svarupa, there's like spiritual.
No, we're spiritual beings. Everyone's a spiritual being.
There's the Jiva Shakti, the Atma, the soul.
We're all
So
souls.
we're eternal souls,
Krishna-
eternal servants of Krishna.
That's right, we're just eternal servants of Krishna. And Krishna is in our heart. So this body belongs to Krishna. I belong to Krishna. Everyone belongs to Krishna. And Krishna can tell me what he wants me to do with my body, mind, or words. To serve his mission, to help others, everyone understand that everything here belongs to Krishna. They belong to Krishna, and everyone belongs to Krishna. And they should help everyone understand how. Then we have unity and diversity.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we have probably say unity and perversity. Everyone is just like a band of thieves that get together and they rob a bank. And the head thief stands up and tells everyone, my dear fellow thieves, now that we've stolen this money, I only have one request to all of you. Please let us divide this money up honestly. So anyone who's being taught to be in the bodily concept of life, even it appears to be spiritual, but it's not spiritual. As long as I've seen people in any way, we should see their identity, their spiritual identity. We don't go into the cage of a tiger, and offer obeisances to him because he's a spirit soul. But we understand he's a spiritual soul. We may throw some prashadam from outside into the cage. So we have to know what the material identifications are. So that will help us understand how to appropriately serve them, help them become Krishna conscious.
The vision and action difference.
What's that?
The vision is the spirit soul in everybody is one thing, but action is not.
We have to know how to
Cannot be
serve.
done equally either.
No, of course not, because we have to, if you're trying to help someone who's, 3 years old become Krishna conscious, or a dog, for instance, you don't start preaching to the dog because he can't understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But you can chant Hare Krishna to the dog. That's more appropriate, and he'll be benefited. But you don't think because you're a dog, you're not a spirit soul anymore. Or why should I bother helping you? You're just a dog.
Mhm.
Then we're Maya. So in a spiritual, I don't think the Prabhupada wanted us to think that, there is the Gaudiya Math, for instance, under Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, they work harmoniously, as Prabhupada said, because they worked on the conception that Bhaktisiddhanta gave them, that their mission was to help everyone become Krishna conscious. But after his disappearance, everyone wanted to become, so many devotees wanted to become Acharya, and they split up. That this is the real Acharya, and therefore we take shelter this Acharya or that Acharya. It's all material concept of life. Therefore they all became a sorrow process, because they gave up the actual unifying principle of working together to help others become Krishna conscious. They've split into different material identifications and the different gurus.
What if they cannot get along? It's better to have a separate.
Now, that's one of the signs of a person who's on the lower stages of devotional service. But that's all right. And you respect it, at least within the mind. You may not be able to intimately associate because you're not advancing it. But that's on that stage where you respect them within the mind, because they're chanting Hare Krishna, because they're under the spiritual energy. If you offend someone under the spiritual energy, then you won't be under the spiritual energy anymore.
Scary.
It's one of the 10 offenses. Blessed and devotees who dedicate their lives in propagation of the holy name of the Lord. But we're supposed to become you do that so you can cultivate devotional service, so that you can come to the platform of liberation from that conceptions that you have. That separates you from everyone else. It doesn't allow you to be tolerant of people's differences. That's why that's the stage you're supposed to take initiation at. That's when you're actually, then even if you don't take it on that stage, the guru is supposed to raise you to that stage, you get out of the material concept of life, so that you can see not all these differences. You can see Krishna and love him, because he's the supreme. You can see the varieties of devotees, and you cooperate with them to help spread the innocent. You all have the same mission. Doesn't matter who you're initiated by, who your leader is. The best leader is the one who teaches you how to get out of the material concept of life. Become a servant of not only him or her, but a servant of all the Vaishnavas appropriate. Therefore, Sadatam Kirdiyandamam Yatantascha Drida Vrataha. Say that you get out of this material concept of life. Which probably writes in the Bhagavad Gita. At first, as the most neophyte devotee, aspiring to become a devotee, we're full of sinful reactions because of our past activities, therefore we're suffering, mainly because we're attached to lust, anger, and greed in the form of illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication, or our past activities. Therefore we suffer. So then we want to act piously, and practically the only pious activity in this lifetime. When we actually get a little free and want to come to the mode of goodness, then we start acting piously by doing sadhana bhakti regularly. Instead of just following religious principles of cultivating, we have to cultivate through the holy name of this age. We cultivate austerity, truthfulness, cleanliness, and mercy. We cultivate them by getting out of getting free from lust, anger, and greed. We act religiously. Then we can come to the platform of the mode of goodness and understand a little bit closer to goodness, like that, perhaps goodness, how we should be dedicated to the sadhana bhakti. And that stage, then one can actually understand that I should conquer central reactions. So at first, one qualifies himself by following the four other principles for initiation. Then he acts piously by chanting Hare Krishna, chanting Hare for some time. Then he takes initiation to conquer sinful reactions, get rid of our false conceptions of life, because the results of sinful activities, especially illicit sex, distorts our minds, causes us to see difference between everyone. And then we conquer, then we rise up to the platform of real knowledge of Krishna, about Krishna. Then we can actually experience Krishna through the holy name and understand who he really is. And then one can meditate. Then one accepts real devotional service. So he gets free from hankering lamentation, starts seeing everyone equally as a spiritual being, and works on that platform. No one can actually understand Krishna. In truth, who he really is and what his mission is, what he's doing, is one is engaged in it. And then when one experiences how wonderful Krishna is, how wonderful his devotees are, and he falls in love with Krishna, he meditates always in trance on Krishna. Yeah.
I've found many normal people in the world dissuaded from chanting Hare Krishna seriously because of the difficulty following the four principles in the beginning. So what would you say I recommend for them to do? Like chant anyways, no matter what, and then this determination to follow these principles will happen. So just chant no matter what.
Well, no matter what.
But still, you won't get the full benefit of the holy name, the actual.
Well, you're getting the full benefit of what your full benefit, what you can get. Therefore, Rupa Goswami says in the Nectar of Instruction, Sat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sutapta Vidya, Vitopa Tapta Rasanasin Nirochi Ganga, Invadara Nanudinam Savakali. Savikramad Bhavati Tatkala Nuvahantri. The holy name, form, quality, and pastimes of Krishna are transcendently sweet like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya, ignorance, cannot relish anything sweet, it is wonderful how by simply chanting these sweet names every day, the natural relish awakens within one's tongue, and one's disease of ignorance is destroyed at the root. So it's not expected if you have jaundice. It's expected if you have jaundice and you take sugar candy, it's going to taste bitter. Although sugar candy is not bitter. But by taking it, you become cured of the jaundice, and then you can realize how sweet it is. So if we have jaundice of avidya, we're seeing things all wrong, our intelligence is distorted, our mind's crazy, we're absorbed in illusion. We're devotees not of Krishna, but of a lust, anger, and greed. Through Vacha Vegam, Asakrota Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udrapasta Vegam, Hitad Vegam, Yoga Shiheta Dira, Sarvama Pimam, Divyam Sastisha. When you can control the mind, the minds, let's see, the minds of man, is the first one? No.
One who can
No,
control.
no,
the
no,
urges.
both noticeably. That
Bachuvegam.
Vajravegam, Master Brother. So one controls the urge to speak, the mind's demands, forces the tongue, belly, and genitals. He's able to make disciples all over the world. So now we're devotees of our tongue, belly, and genitals, and our mind, anger, and words. We're quite faithful devotees of those things. Therefore, we have to learn how to become, by the process, especially beginning with the tongue. Therefore, begins. Rupa Goswami says, Vachavegam. So, Takshi Krishna Namadi, Nabravet Graham Indriyai, Sevan Mukhe Jivado, Swayameva Spratita. Takshi Krishna. No one can understand Krishna with these dull material senses, but when one is able to Takshi Krishna Nabravet Graham Indriya, Seva, perform service beginning with the tongue, and Krishna reveals himself. So we chant not the glories of sense gratification. We chant Krishna's glories, devotional, so how to use the senses in the mission of Krishna, by telling others about Krishna. We don't gratify the tongue in order to satisfy our false ego that we're the lords of the world, and that we're enjoying the material world through our tongue. That the cauliflower on my plate is offering dandavats, asking to enter into my fire digestion and empower me, so I can consume more carrots and cauliflower coras, and so I become the Lord of the world. And that empowers my senses, so my belly is satisfied, my genitals become strong, so, and then my mind becomes bewildered, everyone looks beautiful. So it all begins with the tongue.
Wow, that's true.
Then so we have to utilize the tongue to hear and then understand how to act properly. We can utilize it as Prabhupada writes, that we're in the material world now. Well, we think we're in the material world, that's where we think we are, and for us it is the material world because that's what we think we are. We act as if it's the material world. It's why it keeps us in the material conceptions of life. So we have to hear how to utilize to talk about Krishna properly so that we can help others get out of this world, what they're supposed to do. And that's what we're supposed to tell people. This world belongs to Krishna. Whatever Krishna gave you, you should find out under his bona fide representatives how to engage in this mission. In this age, the Yuga Dharma is the Sankirtan mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Get people to chant Hare Krishna so they can understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That neither you're the Supreme Lord, nor they're the Supreme Lord, nor anyone else except for Krishna is the Supreme Lord. We're not the proprietors of this world. Krishna is the proprietor. We're not the enjoyers of this material world. Krishna is the enjoyer. We're not the saviors. Krishna is the savior. And when we try to help others, Krishna is saving us, and Krishna is still he's saving us by helping to save others. Then we can actually work on the liberated platform. And we work on the liberated platform, then we'll gradually realize when we try to utilize things in Krishna's service, we try to follow the directions of his representatives so that Krishna is pleased that he sees his other children coming back to the spiritual world. And then we realize that we're not the saviors, that Krishna is the savior. And when we work as a servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna, under the directions of his liberated devotees, the acharyas who are liberated, then we become liberated by doing that. We keep our iron in the fire so it gets hotter and hotter. Eventually we become liberated from our material conceptions of life. Usually, as Prabhupada writes, the last snare that we think we're God. That's the last Nirmaya. The last Nirmaya is really we think we're the saviors. Usually we're doers, we're saving. I'm preaching, I'm telling people the philosophy, and by my mercy they're being saved. And then they think, oh Sadhu, you're saving me. And we say, yes, I'm your savior. But actually we're not anything, we're just 1/10,000th the size of Tiberi's size. We have no intelligence except if Krishna through the succession gives it to us. And as soon as we think we're the savior, that's not part of our philosophy.
Little depressing.
What's that?
It's a little depressing, so insignificant. 1/10,000.
Yeah, that's called Maya.
So we're like a minuscule tool.
Instead of being joyful at how wonderful Krishna is, how wonderful everyone else is, we're depressed that we're not God.
Ah,
It's a mature concept that keeps us away from experiencing the unlimited ocean of transcendental love, because we think I'm not God, people won't love me. What's the use of living if people don't surrender and love me, serve me? Instead, I have to be a menial servant of the servant, just an atom of Krishna's lotus feet. It's the last thing I came to the material world looking for. Never we stay puffed up with a false ego, imagining ourselves to be big when we're not so big, insignificant. Radharani thinks herself insignificant, therefore she loves everyone. Therefore she's the greatest devotee. And we're thinking ourselves to be so important and so great. That's why we're so insignificant. We're living in an illusion. And we're envious. Everyone's bigger than me. I'd rather be an illusion than to understand what my real position is. Because I'm really envious of God, I'm envious of everyone. Trying to compete with them in this neutral platform. Trying to pretend that I'm the controller, I'm the enjoyer, I'm the savior. So I stay in illusion. Trying to become an instrument for Krishna. As an atom with lotus feet.
Luis, you have any question?
No, I'm just absorbing as much as I can.
It's all there in the Bhagavad Gita. There's a question, Krishna giving us trying to understand what's going on and working the best we can so that we can actually understand how insignificant we really are. We can come to the same platform Radharani's on. You think, oh my God. I want to become Radharani. I don't want to become her platform. I don't want to become so humble and loving and surrendered to my spiritual master. This probably writes in the Bhagavad Gita. Quote it's the best again. 434. You can help me out because I always get it mixed up. That I try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls are can impart knowledge into you because they see the truth. You can correct me when I get something wrong there. Path of self-realization is undoubtedly difficult. Therefore, the Lord advises us to approach a bona fide spiritual master in the line of the succession from the Lord himself. The Lord is the original spiritual master, and a person in the line of succession and convey the message of the Lord as it is. No one can become spiritually realized by manufacturing his own process, as the fashion of foolish pretenders. What's next thing about Subdharmam to Sakshat? Bhagavad Pranidham.
The path of religion is directly
Made by the Lord himself. A person aligned as a succession. What is
therefore mental
speculation, dry arguments, and that help one path
Lead
the path.
on to the
nor by independence.
Independent study of books and knowledge go and progress in the path of spiritual life. One has to approach a bona fide spiritual master and serve him like a median servant without false prestige. Satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. Inquiries and submission constitute the proper combination of the spiritual understanding. Unless there is the submission and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective.
One must be.
One has to pass the test of the spiritual master. When he sees a genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses him with genuine spiritual understanding. In this verse, both blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. One should not only hear submissively, but one should get a clear understanding through submission, service, and inquiries. The bona fide spiritual master is by nature very kind to the disciple. When the disciple is, the student is always submissive, is ready to render service, then the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries becomes perfect.
Unless there is submission and service.
Inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective. One has to be able to pass the test of the spiritual master. When the spiritual master sees a genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. In this verse, both blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. One should only hear submissively from the spiritual master. One should get a clear understanding through submission, service, and inquiries. The bona fide spiritual master is by nature very kind to the disciple. When the disciple is always submissive, is ready to render service, then reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries becomes perfect.
Very good, Maharaj.
Yeah, Krishna is a super soul.
The
From him comes remembrance, knowledge, or forgiveness.
whole purport in memorized.
Yeah, why not? Gotta remember something, you must remember something valuable.
Yeah, these are very valuable. So wonderful, that purport.
So we have to, this is the process of becoming Krishna conscious. The bona fide spiritual master is he conveys the message of the Lord as it is. He becomes an instrument for Krishna. He doesn't think he's become Krishna. He's learned how to serve his spiritual master like a menial servant without false prestige. And he's understood that the satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master, his spiritual master, the acharya of the succession, is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. So we back up that can convey the message of the Lord as it is to the disciple. One should accept such a spiritual master as a menial servant without false prestige. So that's what we're trying to learn. Now, how we're great. My spiritual master is great. That's all right, because he's a servant of his servant. But because I have a great spiritual master, I'm great. And anyone who has the same spiritual master as me, they're also great. Because my spiritual master is great, and I'm great, and everyone connected with me is also great. And everyone else is not so great. It's called Maya. It's exactly the opposite of what we're trying to learn. We're supposed to learn through the elevated devotees how to appreciate everyone, whatever greatness anyone has. Not just probably never taught or exhibited that I'm great, that anyone is, and everyone else is not great. They showed appreciation for everyone. He tried to appreciate his god brothers, how they were servants, but because they didn't really understand, and they were preaching something against Prabhupada, was preaching how to appreciate everyone. I think Prabhupada had to draw the line somewhere. So he was dealing with devotees who couldn't really understand how to properly reciprocate with his god brothers and respect them within the mind, but not associated. So Prabhupada never expected us to offend them. He expected us to appreciate who they are and respect them accordingly, but not associate with them intimately, because they were exhibiting the qualities of they didn't recognize Prabhupada, who could teach us how to become a proper servant of the servants. Yes.
Maharaj, Hare Krishna. We have a wonderful morning program. I have a minimum prescribed rounds, then temple service,
I'm little
And
forward.
we have a daily class as well. But what more we can, how we can base our lifestyle so we can be more Krishna conscious throughout the day. Living here in the ashram.
Well, always remember Krishna, never forget him.
That's a good one. Always remember Krishna.
That's what we're here for. When we forget Krishna, we know there's some material reason why I'm forgetting Krishna. So then get rid of that material reason. Try to live life in such a way as that throughout the 24 hours a day, one cannot help but think about Krishna. And why don't we do that? Because we don't listen when anyone speaks about Krishna. We don't take them seriously. We think that this person is talking about Krishna, but they're Indian, therefore they're talking about Krishna because they're an Indian in the Indian way. And someone's black, so they're talking a black way. And someone's white, they're talking a white way. We're thinking that there's different types of Krishnas coming out. Rather than listen to them and appreciate. This devotee is a devotee. They're asking Srimati Radharani and Krishna to engage me in their service. So this is a pastime, like Mother Yasoda and Krishna, the cowherd boys of Krishna, or Radharani with Krishna. There's a pastime between this devotee and Krishna. He's asking to be engaged in this service. Because he's learned from in succession that he's a servant of Krishna. He's asking to be engaged. So this is perfection. They're doing something. They're in a pastime with Krishna, and I should appreciate that pastime. Otherwise, I should listen to it and try to appreciate how they're chanting Hare Krishna. Otherwise, how will I ever appreciate what Mother Yasoda is doing, what Radharani is doing? I can't appreciate what this devotee is doing. So I should listen and try to appreciate, try to hear. Then I'll learn how to hear. I appreciate. And if I think, well, this is, this devotee is not part of my group. So going back to the spiritual world and seeing Mother Yasoda, think, well, she's not a gopi, why should I listen to her? She's not part of my group. You got the wrong rasa.
Remembering Krishna 24 hours per day, it happens the cleaning or the meditation mode, Maharaj.
You gotta get to that was in Bhagavad Gita. Most people never remember Krishna. Or if they hear about Krishna, they forget very quickly. Because they're being dragged away by Maya, by illicit sex and intoxication, meat eating, gambling, etc. Therefore, Krishna goes in one era, and because there's nothing between the two eras, it just goes out the other era. But then when they hear, when they try to hear, they try to chant, because they've got a little bit of inclination and taste. Then they try to regulate the chanting. They try to chant, and by that regulation, chant, regulate, then they get free from the sinful activities. The propensity goes away gradually, or it grossly goes away, and gradually the propensity goes away. And they can actually rise up to the platform where they try to conquer sinful activities. Not that they're chanting japa, and some beautiful lady comes and think, wow, it's a lot more interesting than the japa. Let me put my mind on her for a while I'm chanting. They try to conquer sinful reactions. Krishna says, wherever the mind wanders to, that gradually, step by step, with full conviction, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence. By means of intelligence, gradually, step by step, with full conviction, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence. Something with determination. What is that?
Which one? I'm trying to remember.
6, chapter 6, verse number, let's see, 1823, 24. 20, let's start 24, 1824.
Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence, sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else.
So when accepts this, I understand This is a process. That something may come to my mind, wherever the mind wanders to, due to its flickering and steady nature, one should withdraw and bring it back under the control of itself. So that it appears in the mind, we don't take it seriously, we just let it come and go, rather than grab onto. This is fantastic. Remembering my old girlfriend, how could have been so nice, etc. I just made a few mistakes, and but I've gotten some intelligence by the mercy of Krishna. Now, if I just go back with her, we'll be in paradise. They've learned how to deal with it.
And the English, so that's first the cleaning will happen, and then the meditation mode.
First, the chanting will happen.
The chanting.
First, the chanting will happen, and we'll learn how to chant. So when we learn how to chant better, then the cleaning will take place. In proportion to how much knowledge we had of how to chant. And when the cleaning takes place, then we'll understand how to chant better.
Then,
Then we'll become more inclined to hear how to, the next stage of what we have to do to chant better. And when we chant better, then we'll become cleansed. Then we'll come to the next stage of finding out what we're doing wrong so we can correct it and chant better what we should be doing right. Yes.
Do you have any instruction on the differences between walking and chanting and sitting and chanting? Do you think it affects your quality or just whatever suits you the most?
Well, you sit down and chant, fall asleep.
No, well, don't do that.
What's that?
That's not good. If you sit down to fall asleep.
Therefore, it's better off getting up and standing up and walking around. But if you have a choice between the two, better to sit down and chant. Because walking requires attention.
Yes.
Or else you can bump into the wall or slam into the wall if you don't pay attention. So there's a certain amount of distraction when you're walking around. But it's better than falling asleep.
That's true.
Maharaj, during the time of Kirtan, it's a meditation, right? It's meditation mode, right?
Could be anything, should be meditation. You can chant and listen to your voice and think, oh, I'm an angel. I'm singing like an angel. I hope everyone else realizes it.
That's dangerous.
Or you can listen to everyone else. Others, they're an angel because they're singing like an angel. Completely forget about Krishna. Just to try to enjoy how sweet their singing is. There's so many things. You can chant things. They're singing, they're a crow because they're singing like a crow. So many things are possible. But if we understand their chanting and what they're saying really is, oh, the energy of the Lord, oh, the Supreme Lord, kindly engage me in loving service. And if they have that feeling, Prabhupada said, like a child calling out for its mother out of love. If you can hear that whatever feeling they have like that, then you'll understand what's actually going on. Now, if they themselves are thinking, I'm chanting, oh, the energy of the Lord, oh, the energy of the Lord, please make me prominent, make everyone love me, make everyone appreciate me. I want to hear some clapping after I'm done. We should respect them within the mind because they're chanting the holy name, but we shouldn't imitate them, their sound vibration. We should try to hear Prabhupada who's chanting. And we should try to hear others, how they're chanting in Prabhupada's line, try to appreciate how much they're actually conveying that sound like a child calling out for its mother out of love. Now, we myself may not be able to discriminate so carefully. Therefore, we should listen to Prabhupada's teachings so we can learn how to hear it and discriminate properly. But anyhow, we should appreciate everyone. Anyone even there chanting, oh, the energy of the Lord, oh, the Supreme Lord, kindly engage my love in my service. Give me a house, give me a wife, give me a color TV. Om Jai Jagadish Hari. So we should also appreciate that. They're neophytes, but they're approaching Krishna. So that's also the beginning of their service to Krishna. Gajendra, Dhruva Maharaj, the sages of Namasharanya, the four Kumaras, they were all devotees with material motivation. But Krishna loves them, he appreciates them, that they're approaching him at least, his relation with him, rather than with the illusory energy, only with the illusory energy. So we should appreciate that. But in the beginning, we don't know who's chanting out of what, why the motivation. So we appreciate that chanting. But when we find out, we think that, we have this idea that actually, we're so-called incompatible because instead of loving relationships, we get into arguments. That means I'm a neophyte, they're a neophyte. Therefore, better just to hear them chant and appreciate that, but not intimately associate with it, because we're both in Maya. But when we come to the platform of more advanced, then we can serve Krishna with determination. We can fix our minds with determination. We've understood that, I am averse to others because of my own attachments and aversions, or I'm materially attached to others because of my attachment or aversion. But I can actually see others as Krishna's servant, and they're actually trying to act as Krishna's servant. And it's clear that their motivation is to please Krishna through the acharyas. Then we can cooperate for the mission of teaching each other, whoever we meet, how to help them become Krishna conscious. Then we can cooperate for that. And if we cooperate for something else, then it's just like the band of thieves came together to rob the bank and trying to divide the money up equally. Honestly. That's material world. The motivation is not to learn how to help others become Krishna conscious. Then the motivation is to cooperate with each other so we can divide up the stolen property of the material world. Honestly, of course. 10 for you and 20 for me. 5 for you, 10 for me. Honestly. Gotta make some profit. Gotta get some adoration. Gotta get some distinction. Then it's a good deal. Or we steal from them. I get 10, you get 10. They get 0. We're great. I'm great. You're great. They're useless. Well, anything else?
You have any question?
And because we're calling out to be engaged in devotional service, shouldn't we take is taking that seva better for us in terms of spiritual credit than continuing to chant?
Say that again.
Because when we chant, we're calling out to be engaged in devotional service.
No, we're calling out to engage in loving service to Krishna.
Yes.
Chanting is devotional service. But that devotional service should be in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, we're chanting is devotional service. And now we have to chant in such a way as we become Krishna conscious, and it becomes like becoming devotional. We can chant offensively, and therefore it's not so devotional. Or we can avoid the 10 offenses, and our chanting becomes devotional. Then we become Krishna conscious.
Thank you.
Yes.
When you reach the stage, because there's Nama Aparad and then Nama Bas and then Shuranam. So when you yourself, can you determine what stage another one is on based upon your own elevation?
Well, if you become more elevated, we could become the more possibility is to see where others are at. It says Prabhupada writes in the 6th verse of the Active Instruct, takes one to know one. Unless we have experience, then how can we see if anyone else has an experience? unless we can come to the platform of second-class devotee and ourselves understand what the process is and applying ourselves to it. How can we understand if anyone else is doing it? We don't even know, if we don't know what the process is. We have no experience with the result of the process is. How can we see if anyone else has it, knows what the process is? We don't know what it is. If you see someone, for Monday, an example, hit a golf ball, exactly, with complete control of where the ball goes, then we've never done it. We have no idea what they do. Or how they do it. We may think it's just luck. We don't know the technique. We don't know the purpose. We just see someone hitting a golf ball somewhere. We don't know why he's doing it, how he's doing it. It's all just by luck or something. So we have to learn. We learn the process. You start getting trained by them. You find out it's not so easy. It's not by accident. It takes a tremendous amount of practice and skill developed over many, a lot of practice. Then when you learn how to do it, it becomes natural. And then we can see if anyone else, what they're doing. Someone picks up a golf club and swings and hits someone else in the head. Realize they don't know what they're doing. They don't know the technique. They don't know why they're doing it. They don't know how to do it. They don't know what the result of what they're doing should be. Therefore, before we start, Prabhupada said you can't, in the beginning, we don't know who's doing what or why they're doing it. Can't judge anything. We may think at first everyone's a pure devotee, which they are, but we don't know what level they're on. And then sometimes we just use our own imagination. I like the way he sings, he must be an Uttamadikar. I don't like the shape of his nose, he must be Kanisa. We have all different criteria of judging things, other than what's actually spiritual. Here, good to go.
Thank you, Maharaj, so much for coming and illuminating our heart with your realized knowledge.
Well, I get illumination too, otherwise. I'm just sitting here waiting for Krishna to give some intelligence.
I have a question. What are you listening to? What's in your ear?
I'm listening to the vagus nerve. You know what the vagus nerve is? Most people don't. Probably not, isn't it? Not something they teach in the Bhagavatam. The vagus nerve is a nerve in your body, two nerves. It runs all the way through your brain, all the way down your body, and controls the sympathetic nervous system, which controls digestion, elimination, all these different functions of the automatic sympathetic, which is the automatic nervous system. And generally, most people, we don't activate it very much. Therefore, people get constipated or diarrhea, so many different things. The digestive system doesn't work. So this is a device that stimulates, because they didn't get it right completely, but it stimulates one part of the nerve of the vagus nerve, which is the biggest nerve in the body, helps regulate this sympathetic nervous system. So your digestion is better, elimination is better, assimilation is better, and it works. Although I defy it.
What is this called?
It's neuroscience, but not, it's like 700 euros or something.
700 euros. How much is it?
It's around 900. I just buy it, someone gave it to me.
So since you're aware of it, can you manipulate your vagus?
I could, I know some exercises to do, but even with that, this takes the place of doing the exercise.
Do you recommend that?
Yeah, it works.
Work.
Yeah, 800 euro, but yeah, it works. It's one machine. I mean, I've used all these other bioresident machine, but this is one that actually works.
Huh.
They've been using it for years now.
Can we ask the Zoom, anybody, if any, just few minutes, Maharaj? Anyone has any question, or we can close here? Thanking Maharaj for giving his valuable time to illuminate our hearts in the Bhakta Ashram. Seems like everybody is happy just hearing your wonderful Harikatha, Maharaj. Okay. Thank you, dear devotees. Thanks for joining. We're looking forward to see you all again soon. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpataruvesya viva sindhave vachapatitanam pavanam Vaishnava. His Holiness Prahladananda Swami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.